Martio here. Before we start, thank you very much for everybody that popped by last night in the channel birthday bash. For those that came on screen, thank you very much. It was always a pleasure. We had a good session. Didn't just talk about music last night, so if you haven't watched it, go and have a look. And thank you for all those people that I've sort of getting involved with, all coming in and wishing the channel happy birthday. Much appreciated from Dave and myself. Anyway, back to business as we start year 3. And today we're going to start off with a band that I know two of my panelists are going to be. We were talking briefly about it last night. That's Rob Walker and Richard McCook, who are big fans of this band. And we're talking about Manchester's The Smiths. Now, my ride with The Smiths has only been in the last 10 years, because when they come out, I wasn't very keen on them. At the time these come out, I was more into me headbanging stuff. But as I got older, I sort of appreciated their music, and now I think they're a really good band and I enjoy listening to them. So, formed in Manchester in 1982, and the band comprised of singer Morrissey, the guitarist Johnny Marr, bassist Andy Rourke, and drummer Mike Joyce. Morrissey and Marr were the guys behind the writing. They are regarded as one of the most important acts to emerge in the 80s on the independent music scene. They only made 4 albums as the Smiths before it all fell apart, and they've said they'll never ever reunite. So it's a very short catalogue, but a good one, as they say. So coming in at number 4, and I think everyone expected this one to be at number 4. It's their final album released in 1987, Strangeways, Here We Come. So there's no one. They were the same 4 people all the way through, so no people having hissy fits and leaving. So the first track on here is a track called A Rush and a Push, and The Land Is Ours. Yeah, it's not too bad, this one. I don't mind this one. It's a catchy tune. Yeah, reasonable. I started with something I couldn't finish. Yeah, it's not a bad tune. It's not a brilliant tune. It's got some great drumming here from Mike Joyce, so I do like the drumming on that. Death of a Disco Dancer. Now, this is very disjointed. It's not very, doesn't flow well. Some nice little bits of guitar from Johnny, but it's a little bit off for me. Then next track is my favourite track on here, Girlfriend in a Coma. It's one of the shortest, but it's one of the strong tracks. I love the string arrangement in this, and they sound a little bit drunk as well. It's quite a fun track. I don't mind that one at all. Coming next is Stop Me If You Think You've heard this one before. Pleasant enough, but it's not outstanding. And then we get Last Night I Dreamed That Somebody Loved Me. I do like this. I think that Morrissey's vocals on here are quite strange, but I do like the approach to this song. Unhappy Birthday, never really got into this track. It's one of the weaker tracks on the album. Paint a Vulgar Picture, I like this one. I like Johnny Marr's guitar work on this. Good solid track. Death at One's Elbow, I can take or leave that one. It's pleasant. I Won't Share You, it's alright. I like the sort of acoustic sound of the mandolin. That was the last track. Now, this album isn't a bad album, don't get me wrong, but I think it's the weaker of the 4 albums. The critics thought it was their most accomplished album. I wouldn't say that personally. I just think it sounds like a band that is on the brink of breaking up, because they sort of, so you can always tell in albums when it's the last album. There's got that vibe to it, but it's a reasonable listen. So I'm going to still give it an RTO ranking of 7 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 3 is the debut album, released on the 20th of February 1984, self-titled The Smiths. This is the album where they recorded it and they felt the production was inadequate, so they re-recorded the tracks. There's a few additional musicians join them on here. Paul Carrick on piano and organ, and Alicia Jablonska on does a bit of vocals. John Porter was the person that sort of remixed it, and the Smiths did the production on Hand in Glove. Okay, first track on the area is Reel Around the Fountain. Great track. Love Johnny's guitar on this. I love the keyboards it's done by Paul Carrick. Really strong song. You've Got Everything Now. I love the Johnny and Andy guitar. The bass and the guitar work well. They really intertwine. It's a great vocal from Morrissey, putting all his emotion into these songs. Miserable Lie starts off gentle, and then all of a sudden it gets the tempo gets up. It's another great song. Pretty Girls Make Graves, one of my favourite tracks by the Smiths. I love the vocal from Morrissey on this. Very interesting vocal delivery, and it's a very quirky track. Then we get The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, which is one of the best tracks on this album. I like the arrangement. The guitar work from Johnny, outstanding. It's got this real free flow of playing guitar as Johnny. Still Ill. Now this is one I'm not keen on. The thing is, when I first heard this, I thought Morrissey sounded bored. He probably was. But when you listen to it now, you do appreciate that he was getting into the song. Hand in Glove, great track. Love the bass line from Andy. Good stuff. What Difference Does It Make? Great vocal performance here from Morrissey. Really puts a lot into the delivery of that song. I Don't Owe You Anything. Very catchy tune. I like the gentleness of this as well. That's what I like about the Smiths now. They're catchy tunes. Suffer Little Children, not one of my favourites, I'm afraid, on this album. Not very keen on that one. As I said, when this band first came out, I didn't particularly like them. I thought they were boring. But, you know, as I got older, I did listen to it. And I think this is a really good debut album. Some strong songs on it. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8 out of 10. Okay, then coming in at number 2. Got the second album released in 1985, Meat is Murder. First track on this one is The Headmaster Ritual. When you put this one on, if you didn't know it was the Smiths, you certainly would within 3 seconds. It's got a great guitar line from Johnny. Bass lines are good. Spot on this track. Love that track a lot. Then we get Rush Home Ruffians. Andy's bass line on this is terrific. I love the acoustic guitars on this. It's got a sort of a stop-start tempo as well. Very, very good track. Then we get I Want the One I Can't Have. Love Morrissey's vocal in this. Absolutely one of his unique deliveries. I like how it sounds. He's not interested in what's going on, but it's a really strong performance on that track. What She Said, some of Johnny Marr's finest guitar work. It's bright, Mike's drumming gives it that extra depth the way he doesn't miss a beat. Really strong. Then we get my favourite track on this one, That Joke Isn't Funny Anymore. Never used to like this track, but when it came out, but now I love it. It's got lots of atmospheric sound on it. The lyrics are very strong. It's just a fantastic track by the Smiths. Then we get Nowhere Fast. It's quite rocky rolly, this is, in places. But done in an alternative rock version of rock and roll. The guitar work from Johnny Marr on this is terrific. It's a strong track again. Well, I Wonder's next. One of my favourite vocals ever by Morrissey. And you got that, it's just the way he delivers it, his vocal range is terrific. And you got that intricate bass line from Andy. Good stuff. Barbarism Begins at Home. Very good track. Johnny Marr. Some excellent guitar work on this. Now, Meaty's Murder. Now, a very atmospheric track. Very meaningful lyric, I think, personally, to Morrissey. I'm not keen on the words, but I like the tune and I like the arrangement. But the lyrics I'm not very keen on. This is a great album. This is the first album I really listened to properly, and I do like it. It's got some great songs on it, and it's one I do like to play now. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.3. But my number one album is the third album that was released in 1986, The Queen Is Dead. Classic album. It's got some of the greatest Smith songs on here. The first one is the title track, The Queen Is Dead, and it's got included in that Take Me Back to My Dear Old Blighty. I love this, how they put that Take Me Back to Dear Old Blighty in there. It's brilliant. The background drums, just very gentle. Nice guitar work, superb song. Then we get one of my favourite songs, Frankly Mr. Shankly. I love the acoustic work of this. I think this is like Morrissey talking about probably one of his old teachers, sticking two fingers up at him. It's a real fun track. I Know It's Over, again, one of my favourite tracks. It's just the gentleness of it. It's acoustic guitar. Morrissey's vocal is fantastic. Never Had No One Ever. One of those tracks that's driven by Andy's bass line. Everything else sort of intertwines on there, and even Morrissey's vocal sort of guides its way around the bass line. Cemetery Gates, great track, superb track, one of the classic Smith's track. Definitely a good one there. Then we get Big Mouth Strikes Again. Love the guitar on this, nice and gentle sort of acoustic sounds. The bass and drums really hold this song together. The Boy with the Thorn in His Side, classic, absolute classic track. I love the guitar work from Johnny in this one, terrific stuff. Then we get a track called Vicar in a Tutu. Love the track again. I think it's just a bit of tongue-in-cheek from Morrissey. The guitars are okay, delicate touches as well. Then we get my favourite track ever by the Smiths, There Is a Light That Never Goes Out. I just think this is brilliant. It's got the best bass line from Andy, and it's a very important element of this song, and the vocal from Morrissey is a fine performance, delivers it well. It's a strong song, quirky, quite like that song a lot. Then we get Some Girls Are Bigger Than the Others, another tongue-in-cheek song. Okay, people might get offended these days, but back in in the day there was nothing wrong, and it's just tongue and cheek. Really love that song. This album is terrific. It is my favourite album, without doubt. It's just, I think it's got so many of the great Smiths songs, and I think this is when the Smiths are really at the peak of their game. What I like about this album is that it's the use of more acoustic guitars, and some of Andy's bass lines are the best that he ever did with the Smiths. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.5. So there we go. My biggest two critics of this all probably, well, I don't know, I remember last night we had it on the live stream, and I think Richard and I have gone for the same number one, so that's a good thing. But we'll see what happens when they put their comments below. Okay, I'll be back later with a classic album, and this week we're going to take one of the classic albums from the 70s by the brilliant Janis Joplin, and her second and final album, Pearl. So join me for that later. Bye for now.